Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to our really Formula for Success webinar. I'm delighted to have you on board again and to also see so many new people joining us on this call. This webinar certainly has stoked a lot of interest to people. It's great to see all the regulars that we've on every single week, pretty much from all over the world, but also to the new people. Welcome on board. Delighted to see you on, and I'm sure you're going to really enjoy it. So what we're presenting on today is we're presenting on the alkaline lifestyle. And we're going to be presenting on the 4 simple steps to following an alkaline lifestyle: accelerate fat loss, increase energy, and fight disease. These are just 3 of the many, many benefits to people following the alkaline lifestyle. And Andrew O'Leary on the 4 steps. So he's going to be joining us very shortly. What I just want to stress before I bring Andrew on is make sure you take plenty of notes, make sure you ask plenty of questions. In the question box you can see, make sure you type them in there. I'll be moderating the questions and I'll bring up the questions if they're being asked and they're relevant at the time, or else we're going to have a specific Q&A section at the end. So don't worry, every question that gets asked is going to be answered. Alright? So I just want to bring on Andrew O'Leary. Andrew O'Leary is someone I met it's over 18 months at this stage, I think it was, and we were drawn together because we were both following a similar path with the alkaline lifestyle, and I had moved to being vegan in January 2012. So we had a lot of similar beliefs, and we connected and we met up, and we formed a great relationship since. And I have a huge respect for Andrew and all he does. He basically dedicates his life to educating people on the alkaline lifestyle. It's a passion of his. It's made a dramatic difference to him in his life. And, he now spreads the word, and I'm delighted to have Andrew on the call. I just want to make sure there, Andrew, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear, Dave. I remember that was 18 months back when we met. It was great. I remember that you were just getting started with what was called the alkaline lifestyle at that stage. Alkalinity has been around for some time, but I think you're starting to educate yourself. But thanks again for having me on board. I'm excited and I'm ready to go with this presentation.
Great. I'm just going to make you presenter now, Andrew, and we'll just make sure all the screens are showing okay, and then you'll be good to go. But it's been great. And this is the thing for people, you never know whose path might cross with you, and this is where everyone that comes into your path, into your life, a lot of times there's a reason. So faith definitely has an impact. So just make sure that your screen is coming up and everyone can see it. Yeah, cool. 4 simple steps to following alkaline lifestyle. That's great. So everyone, again, ask loads of questions. I'll be moderating the question box, and enjoy and take loads of notes. So over to you, Andrew.
Thanks very much, Dave. Good evening, everyone. So for tonight's presentation, what I'd like to do is focus on, as Dave said there, 4 simple steps to following an alkaline lifestyle. There are 4 main key areas towards adopting an alkaline lifestyle and benefiting from, accelerated fat loss, increased energy, and the ability to actually fight off diseases. It's been said by a number of scientists and researchers that disease itself cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So, in other words, the cells of a disease, once in an alkaline state, are not able to proliferate or expand out and become bigger than what they are. So therefore, what normally happens in an alkaline environment is that they die off and they cease to form in terms of their function. So it's now February, and I was speaking to a couple of my friends there recently, and a number of them, surprisingly enough, are not following an alkaline-based lifestyle. What they've said is that recently I've actually caught this cough, or I've caught this cold that's going around, and there's this bug that we all need to be afraid of. The truth of the matter is way back in December, a lot of people would have ate a lot of food over the Christmas period. Coming up to New Year's Eve, they would have drank a lot of alcohol. Now, the sort of foods that you eat normally over the Christmas period are what are called acidic foods. Now, when we start to eat acid or acidic forming foods, what we do is we create an environment within our bodies that is acid forming. And when that happens, diseases such as the viruses, such as candida, such as bacteria or microforms as are commonly referred to as, they start to proliferate in our bodies. Now the actual cold or the flu, that the symptoms of the disease are usually what people will experience around January, February. And the reason for this is because your body is going through extreme cold conditions at this moment in time. The weather's not the best, so you're going out without a hat on, your defenses are down, and as a result these microforms in this environment pick up the acids and start to proliferate within this environment. So when people ask me, you know, what made me interested in an alkaline-based lifestyle, or what sort of motivated me towards, sorry, one second guys, I'm just trying to change the slide here. It goes way back actually. Back in 1985 I was considered probably one of the fastest boys in my class. And I think the reason why I was at that time is because I actually steered clear of meat, dairy. I was actually allergic to dairy, which is why I didn't actually drink it as a kid. And I ate very little meat. I wasn't really into meat at that point in my time in my life. And an abundance of energy, probably too much energy for my parents to manage at that time. But what I felt at that time was that I had tons of energy, and I was actually faster than anybody in my class. And I think that the reason why I had so much energy is because I was more interested in my vegetables than I was in my meat or my dairy. In 1986 I started Taekwondo. I needed to use up some of that extra energy that I had. In 1990 I was quite fit. I was a cross-country runner for Airfield Athletics Club. I was then a qualified lifeguard. I used to do quite a lot of cycling, quite a lot of swimming at that time. I was a member of the school swim team. I won a lot of medals for my school. In 1996 I became a sprinter. I was quite fast at the 1 and 200 meters. I ran for the Irish Athletics Association and Clonmel Harriers. And in 1998 I became a sprinter for RTC Tala. Just past that I started Kempo, which is a form of martial arts, and I wanted to, put on a bit of weight because I was quite skinny at that time. So I began bodybuilding, and it was actually a nutritionist that introduced me to whey protein and eating an abundance of meat. And it was I was inadvertently adopting an acid-based lifestyle, because whey protein essentially derives from milk, and milk is extremely acid forming. In 2006 I started to suffer from hay fever. Never had hay fever before in my life. 2007 suffered from coughs and colds, had chest infections. I was subscribed to steroids by my doctor. In 2008 I had asthma. Never had asthma before. Very low energy. I started to put on quite a lot of weight at that time as well. In 2009, I started Mugendo kickboxing, and around that time I actually spent 4 weeks in hospital. I didn't know what was actually wrong with me at the time, and the doctors had said that I had excess fat of some kind, or buildup of mass, as they described it. Later research indicated that it was excess inflammation around my stomach. I had low energy. I was unable to concentrate, so I needed a solution quick. In 2011, I read about hundreds of books in the area of health and wellness until I came across something called the Alkaline Lifestyle. I read a book called The pH Miracle by Dr. Robert Young, and a number of books such as the China Study, that's centered around the alkaline concept, the idea that the Western-based lifestyle and the foods that we eat on a consistent basis are not fully supportive of human function in terms of how we should we are essentially alkaline by design, but the foods that we eat on a consistent basis make us acidic, and as a result, our energies are depleted. We have, low libido. We have skin conditions. We suffer from diseases. We suffer from coughs, colds throughout the year, and it's based on the fact that we are eating the wrong foods, drinking the wrong things, and it's causing this acid buildup in our system. And after I read about the acid alkaline based lifestyle, what I started to do was start to eat more alkaline based foods. I realized that I'd lost about 3 stone effortlessly. What had actually happened at that time is the fat that had built up around my stomach naturally emulsified, because what I found out from reading these books is that the reason why we store fat is as a protective mechanism, which I'll get into later in this presentation, but it's quite important to understand the reason why people store fat is not as a means of storing additional energy for the winter. It's actually because our bodies need an extra layer to protect our organs from the acids that are in our system. The fats in our body actually absorb the acids and prevent our organs from being exposed to these acids. So that's important to realize, that once you start adopting an alkaline-based lifestyle, once your body becomes more alkaline, fat will naturally emulsify, and therefore, you won't actually require the fat to be stored, and it naturally eradicates itself from the body. So 2013 and beyond, I'm currently training to compete in triathlon. I have more energy, more abundance than I've ever had in my life. This morning I think I woke up at 5 a.m. It's now 10 p.m. here in Ireland, and I still have more energy than I could ever have. I probably sleep maybe 6-7 hours a night, whereas back in 2011 I was sleeping 10-11 hours a night. So you don't need as much sleep when you're living an alkaline-based lifestyle. You don't need to eat as much actually as well, because the foods that you're eating are more nourishing, and they're also creating an alkaline state in your body, which means that you've got more the energy that you get from meats and dairy, which is not much, to be honest with you. So what is alkaline, and where does this word come from? Well, there's a pH scale, and it goes from 0 to 14. 0 is extremely acidic, so that's battery acid, burn a hole in a table kind of acid. 14 would be extremely alkaline, the likes that you'd use on your oven cleaner, for example. Somewhere between is what's called the perfect pH, and that's, according to a number of scientists, what they've looked at is that when you are born, your blood is at a pH of 7.365. Now, your blood will always remain at this pH, but in order for it to do so, what it needs to do is it needs to rob buffers from your system. So, for example, my blood at the moment is 7.365. How I sustain that level of pH is through the foods that I eat on a day-to-day basis. And what most people do is that they'll maybe eat quite a lot of acidic foods during the week. And what happens is your body has to rob minerals such as calcium, magnesium, etc. from your bones in order to buffer those acids out of your system. So it's not an ideal situation for these people, because what that actually does is it causes excess acid in the system, and it also causes inflammation, which I'll get into in a little while now. There was an article recently in Time magazine that said that there's a surprising link between inflammation, heart attacks, cancer, Alzheimer's, and other diseases. What that essentially means is that inflammation is the #1 cause of disease. So if you know somebody that's had a heart attack, somebody that's suffering from cancer, somebody that's suffering from Alzheimer's, diabetes, or other related diseases, what you'll find is that they have an excess amount of inflammation in their body. And that inflammation is centered around a certain area, and wherever that particular area is will either cause mutations such as cancer, or in the event of a heart attack will cause a buildup in the arteries caused by excess fats and butter acids that build up in a certain area. Or in the case of Alzheimer's, what happens is that the synaptics in the brain stop sending and receiving messages, and it's all down to the fact that your body is acidic, and in an acidic environment those synaptics fail to trigger. So it's quite important that you try and maintain an alkaline body, and how you do that is by eating certain foods on a consistent basis. So we have, a health crisis in the world. What scientists quickly in New England Journal of Medicine generation, so in other words, our children could be the first basically in the history of the world to live less healthy and shorter lives than their parents. If just think about that for a second. That essentially means that the children that are growing up today will not live as long as their parents, which are me and you, if you're old enough to be on this call. And if you have kids, it's a disturbing realization that the foods that we're feeding our kids today are causing our kids to be obese. And as a result, the generation of children could be the first basically in the history of the world to live less healthy and shorter lives, much shorter lives than our parents, which is us. 4 out of 5 will die of cancer, heart disease, or stroke. So you imagine that 5 people in a room, 4 out of 5 people will die of cancer, heart disease, or stroke. They're quite shocking statistics. The medical physiology textbook says that the cells of a healthy body are alkaline, while the cells of a diseased body are acidic. If you were to measure the pH of the cells of a diseased body, even a dead body, for example, the pH of a dead body is always acidic. So, sorry if it's shocking, but it's a known fact that as you go into, as the body dies and as it degenerates, it's the acids in the body that degenerate it. So if you think about it, old age and all the effects of old age, such as degeneration, are actually caused by acid in the body. So if you want to get old, just continue to eat more acidic forming foods. If you want to stay young and healthy, eat more alkaline-based foods. So what are the 4 steps? Step 1 is nutrition. Swap your cows for cows. It's a great metaphor because cows, which are meat, dairy, all the things which are extremely bad for our system, extremely acid forming. We need to swap them for the metaphor COWS, which stands for chlorophyll, oils, water, and salt. So we'll go through each of these in detail. So chlorophyll, if you actually look at the molecular structure of chlorophyll, if you have a look on the left-hand side, the only difference between the left-hand side and the right-hand side, the left-hand side is the molecular structure of plant chlorophyll, whereas on the right-hand side we have a human blood hemoglobin. So in other words, the blood cell and its molecular structure. They're both identical. The only difference between the two is that the iron is at the center of the blood molecule, whereas the magnesium is at the center of the chlorophyll molecule. So if you think about it, the perfect fuel or perfect drink to be drinking on a regular basis is chlorophyll, because what it will actually do when it goes into the body is it will be automatically converted into blood once the center is replaced with iron. And it's probably the, for any of you who are bodybuilders out there and want to get an extra pump, I know myself from the kickboxing I do on a regular basis. When I actually go into the gym, I'm often commented, where do you get your physique from? And what I tell the guys in the gym is that, look, I don't do a heck of a lot of bodybuilding, any training I do is usually, push-ups, sit-ups, and that kind of thing. And how I build my muscle, and a lot of them are in shock when they realize this, is I build my muscle by building my blood. So how you build your blood is by drinking more chlorophyll, which is derived from plants and green leafy vegetables. The more chlorophyll you build or drink, the more blood you're going to build, the more of a pump you're going to get in the gym, and therefore the more muscle you're going to build. It's a myth that protein actually builds muscle, and it's been studied and researched, and what they actually say is that if you are taking, which I think a lot of bodybuilders are taking it today, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is an excessive amount of protein by any standard. But if you're taking that amount of protein on a consistent basis, what scientists have recently confirmed is that all you're doing is creating a nitrogen-rich environment, which is what's called an oxidative reductive potential environment. So in other words, you're degenerating from the inside. You may be getting extra pumps, and the extra pumps you're getting are from the calories that you're consuming, the extra calories, but the protein is actually not doing anything. All it's doing is adding more calories to your system. You will certainly build slightly more muscle, but I can guarantee you, you swap your protein for chlorophyll and you'll see some dramatic results. Oils. I take about 3 spoonfuls of good oils a day. I have a bottle of Ludo's Choice in the fridge, and that's made up of flaxseed oil, sunflower seed oil, coconut oil, evening primrose oil, and it acts as a buffer, and it actually helps alkalize the system. It's also great for joints. For anyone who has arthritis, I highly recommend you take a bit of flaxseed oil in your salads, so on and so forth. But if you're cooking, what I always recommend is don't use olive oil, use coconut oil, and really cook with it, whereas coconut oil can't reach a toxic state during the cook. Water, I'd always recommend you consume at least 3 liters of H2O per day. And the reason why you want to drink a lot of water is because you want to flush out any toxins that you've built up in your system. It's a great way of engaging. It's actually the quickest way to, next to chlorophyll, is to actually build blood by the water that you take in on a regular basis gets converted quicker to blood than most nutritional products that are out there. Now, another thing that you need to consider about H2O is the source of H2O. I have an ionizer, and I know Dave has an ionizer as well. And what we do is we plug our ionizer into our taps, and the ionized water that we drink produces a water that is molecularly structured in such a way that it's easier to consume. So in other words, it's not as dense as the tap water that we get from our taps. And secondly, it's easier to absorb ionized water in the system. The third point I want to make about ionized water is the fact that it's got a high pH. So in other words, it's got a pH of maybe about 9.5. And when you're drinking ionized or alkaline water on a consistent basis, you're alkalizing your system. So the other point I want to make about nutrition is that we need to consume more salts than we're eating on a day-to-day basis. Most people think of salt and they think of the table salt. I'm not actually talking about that at all. And I highly recommend that if you do use table salt, to get rid of it as soon as possible. I'm working with a company called 7.2, and we have a product called Booster. And essentially, Booster, what it does is it contains all of these salts that you see on the right-hand side. But when you're taking them on a consistent basis, what you're doing is you're making yourself electrically charged. If you go to hospital, what's the first thing they do is they give you saline. What's in saline? It's usually the combination of everything on the right-hand side and water. And the reason why they give you this is to keep you hydrated, and the reason why it contains salt is to keep you electrically charged. And that's something that a doctor doesn't know. It was actually a nutritionist back in the early 1900s by the name of Robert Browning, and he came up with the idea that in order to get enough water into our systems when we're hydrated, the water that goes in through the IV needs to contain salts, because when it actually enters the blood in its salt form, it becomes electrically charged and it runs through our systems maybe 2 or 3 times faster than standard water, and it gets converted straight away into blood. So the 4 areas that you need to look at in terms of nutrition: you swap your cows for your cows, so you eradicate meats from your diet, eradicate milk, and you replace them with chlorophyll, oils, water, and salt. So you can see on the left-hand side is a diagram of all the acid-forming foods that we, as a nation, unfortunately eat on a consistent basis. Hamburgers, you guessed it, hot dogs, lunch meat, candy, cookies, sugar, alcohol, soda, white bread, noodles, anything that essentially contains flour is quite bad for you. And you guessed it, then on the right-hand side, alkaline-based foods are, your beets, beetroots, cauliflower, celery, kale, apples, avocados, figs, lemons and limes, almond, grapefruits. They're all extremely alkalizing, very good for your system, and they help clean out your system as well. What I'd always say is also try and focus on foods that contain more water. And if you can't eat these foods on a consistent basis, I always recommend you supplement. Step 2 is exercising the lymphatic system. So what's the lymphatic system? It's basically our toxic waste system that helps the body eradicate toxins from our body as quickly and as efficiently as possible. It's kind of like the blood system, but it works and operates. You probably heard your doctor or someone referred to your lymphs or your lymph nodes. They're part of the lymphatic system, and when your lymphs are exposed or if they're inflamed, you've usually got a problem. And what's actually happening when your lymph nodes are inflamed is that you've probably got a toxic buildup somewhere in your system. So how do we engage our lymphatic system, or how do we get our lymphatic system to work? What we need to do is what's called deep diaphragmatic breaths, which basically means that we need to breathe in and out at a certain ratio that allows the lymphatic system to be stimulated and allows the toxins to be flushed through the sewage system and out of our bodies. What I always recommend is at a ratio of 1:4:2, and what that basically means is that you breathe in for once. So for example, your 1 could be 7 seconds. What you do then is you hold for 28 seconds, and then you breathe out for 14. And if you do this, repeat it maybe 10 times, do that maybe 3 times a day, try it for a week, and I can guarantee you by the end of the week you'll have more energy than you've ever had in your life, because you're stimulating something that has probably never been stimulated before. And you can only stimulate it. This has actually been researched and experimented on in controlled laboratories, that the only way to efficiently stimulate the lymphatic system is through deep diaphragmatic breaths. So if you're doing this on a consistent basis, what you're doing is you're eliminating toxins from the system. When there's no toxins in your system, your blood flows more efficiently, your synaptics trigger off and the electrons that are in our body, because we are all electrical, as Vega said. Everyone that's born is an electrical being. If you doubt it for a second, just stick your finger on the light switch and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But we're all electrical by design. And when you eradicate buildup in the system, the electrons that are in our body fire off and trigger, and our nervous system becomes faster, we think more clearly, the fogginess that was in our heads goes away, essentially we become, we have a lot more energy in our lives because of it. So I recommend you do that. Breathe in for 7 seconds, hold for 28, and breathe out for 14. I'll explain why you're doing this. You're breathing in for 7 seconds to get a good breath in. You're holding it for 28 so that you're basically going into your bronchi, your bronchioli, down into your stomach, down into your, stimulating the lymphatic system at that stage. And then you're breathing out for 14. Now why you're breathing out for 14 seconds is so that you're eliminating those toxins through the air. And once the lymphatic system is engaged, the toxins will start to eliminate from your body. You'll also find that when you actually start doing this, you won't feel as hungry as what you previously did. And the reason for this is because you're giving the body exactly what it needs. Okay? So step 2 is deep breathing. Step 3 is exercising right. Most people don't exercise right because what they usually do is January 1st, they'll jump on the treadmill, or they'll jump into a very extreme workout using the heaviest weights they can find, and within maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, they're exhausted. They've got excess inflammation in the body, and that's caused by exercising excessively. What happens at this stage is that after the inflammation is built up, they'll probably head home and they won't want to exercise for at least a week later, because the following morning they'll be sore, they'll be complaining about aches and pains, they won't be able to get out of bed. And the reason is because they've not actually eliminated the toxins from the body. And as I explained before, toxins create inflammation. So if you are exercising without first eliminating acids from your body, you're causing more inflammation to build up on top of the acids that are already in your body, and you're causing what's called a secular event. So in other words, you're building more and more inflammation on top of the acids that are already in your body and causing a more toxic or more acid environment. And that leads then, unfortunately, to disease, and it also leads to, things that are commonly referred to excessive exercise, such as arthritis and related diseases. So it's not good to jump straight into exercise. What I always say to someone is do detox before you begin exercising. And the reason is because you want to eliminate those acids before you jump on the treadmill or before you jump into a tough routine involving heavy weights, because if you don't do that, all you're doing is you're adding more acid, because when you exercise you're building what's called lactic acid on top of the existing acid, and you're creating a more toxic environment, and when you go out to exercise you're just causing yourself more harm. Step 4, reduce stress. So what I always say to somebody is don't ever stress yourself to a state where your thoughts and the thinking that goes on in your head affects your body, because stress, believe it or not, does actually cause an acidic environment in your body. The thoughts that you have, and I'll just show you this next slide, become things. So essentially anything that you think, whether you believe it or not, anything that you think in your head, although you might think it's just something that belongs in your brain, it actually does have a physical impact on your body. So, and if you looked at it, there's a video out there that I highly recommend you look at. It's called The Secret. I think it's free to air on YouTube last time I looked. But what it describes is how thoughts become things and how you physically manifest or attract whatever you think about on a consistent basis. So if you're thinking about negative thoughts on a consistent basis, it actually has a negative impact on your body. It also causes acidic buildup, and it also has a negative impact on your life. So that's the 4 key areas that I would always recommend you look at. Let me just go back to the... So step 1 is nutrition. Swap your cows for your cows. Chlorophyll, oil, water, and salts. Step 2, exercising the lymphatic system. You want to get rid of those toxins. I'd always say even do a detox while you're exercising the lymphatic system. So you're working both from a lymphatic point of view, but you're also using detox substances that help eliminate toxins from your system faster. Step 3 is exercise right. So don't jump on the treadmill until you've actually eliminated the source of the problem. And then step 4 is reduce the stress in your life. So there are 4 simple steps that anyone who's on this call tonight should be able to bring into their life, should be able to, use on a consistent basis. They're quite easy, and they're probably things that you probably haven't actually thought of before. But when you start thinking that way, and when you start, adopting an alkaline-based lifestyle, which includes those 4 areas, your energy, number 1, will go through the roof. You'll reduce inflammation. You'll have improved skin tone. Your health and energy will be dramatically improved. You'll be able to sleep better. That's one thing I noticed actually as soon as I started to alkalize, is that I could sleep better. You'll be able to maintain a healthy weight, and you'll be able to improve mental clarity. Now, I've been talking about this for the last 18 months plus. When I met Dave, I was starting to learn about alkalizing, and I was starting to speak to people about it. But it's becoming more and more widely accepted as a means of being able to live a certain lifestyle. There's a lot of diets out there that will describe how, if you take a certain number of calories away from a diet, so within a diet, or if you're eating smaller portions of food, you'll lose fat. And it does work. I'm not going to argue, it does actually work. You will lose fat for the period of time that you're on the diet. But 9 times out of 10, if you're actually on a diet, you'll find that you actually put the weight on, if not double the amount on, within a period of time after you've gone off the diet. Because during a diet, you're starving yourself of vital nutrients. You're also eating less calories than what your body is used to. So what happens is your body goes in starvation mode, and immediately after you come off the diet, because the diet is always a set period of time, you start to put the weight back on again because your metabolism has slowed down, and therefore your body is telling itself, okay, well, we just starved there for maybe 12 weeks. Let's make sure that the next time we starve, we have enough fat to support us. The fats begin storing, and they actually begin storing faster. What alkalizing is about is actually changing your lifestyle. So it's not a quick fix 12-week program. This is all about adopting and eating the right foods on a consistent basis so that you'll always look good. You'll always look thin. You'll always, have good posture. You'll always have improved skin tone. You'll always have no inflammation, reduced inflammation. Your health will always be great. You'll sleep better. You'll have improved mental clarity as well. So this guy on the left-hand side, I think I'm a little bit behind in terms of what you're seeing and what I'm seeing, but is a guy by the name of Rich Roll. I noticed, Dave, you've liked this page this week on Facebook. I've been following Rich for a while now.
One thing actually, Andrew, was kind of freaky. I literally liked it. I think within seconds I saw notifications that you'd liked it. So it's pretty weird.
Yeah, I didn't know he actually had a Facebook page, but this is Rich Roll. I read his book, one of the books that I read actually, and it's called something about Ultraman, or anyway, have a look out for that book. It's a great book because it describes how this guy went from being overweight, being a couch potato, being 40 pounds, to now running what I call Ultraman. You know, they're probably the longest events that you can actually run. He's considered one of the 25 fittest men in the world. He's a top finisher at Ultraman World Championships, which is a 6.2 mile swim, 261.4 mile cycle, and a 52.4 mile run. I don't even want to think about that. That's phenomenal in terms of what a human can actually achieve. He recently accomplished 5 Ironman distance triathlons on 5 Hawaiian islands within less than a week. So in other words, he did them consecutively, one after the other, 5 within a week, which is unbelievable. But this guy, Rich Roll, has been adopting a lifestyle which is rich in plant-based foods, and he's been doing it now for quite some time. And he always says that the reason why he's able to achieve these results on the right-hand side, or why he's so good at what he does and why he has an abundance of energy, is because he's adopted an alkaline-based lifestyle. So certain things that can be achieved by switching away from acidic foods and adopting, you know, alkaline-based foods. So the problem at the moment is, you know, for anyone I spoke to about adopting an alkaline lifestyle, they've always said it's too expensive, or, you know, it's too time-consuming. It's not easy to do. It's hard to stick with. Most people, you know, the first time they have a green drink, which is usually recommended that you have on a consistent basis, if you're wanting to get enough chlorophyll into your system. But what they usually say the first time they have a green drink is that it tastes like the bottom of a lawnmower. You don't want your first experience of adopting an alkaline-based lifestyle to be one that turns you off. So these are some of the problems that we've identified. I'm part of a company called 7.2, and what our mission is about educating people about the alkaline lifestyle, but also making it easy for anyone to adopt the lifestyle very quickly. And how we've done that is we've introduced a number of products to the market that allow people to eat the foods that they've been eating on a consistent basis, but also taking some additional supplements that dramatically change the pH of a person's body. So we're the first company to make alkalinity simple and easy. We adopt recovery through alkalinity. We have a 7-week transformation, which is kind of like a jump start into what we've always said and what we've always thought of the alkaline way of life, as opposed to a diet that's maybe 12 weeks. You know, this is basically a jump start into a lifestyle, is what we've put together. It's considered, you know, the business of the 21st century, according to Paul Zane Pilzer. You know, the way things are going, anyone I've been speaking to who's really into health and fitness have all been talking about the alkaline lifestyle and how it's going to be the next major shift in the health and wellness industry. So we're 7.2. We have, you know, great leadership. We've got a lot of people that have been looking at our company and seeing it grow. We have some great products, we're on the right mission, and we have a great compensation plan for anyone who's interested. I'm not going to go into that on this call, but if you want to find out about that, just chat to Dave after this call. We have a 7.2 protein shake, which is the foundation of the lifestyle. Essentially, you get enough protein out of this to sustain you for the entire day. What I normally do is I have this first thing in the morning instead of my breakfast, and it contains 100% organic ingredients, so 100% vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, soy-free. There's nothing artificial, no sugar, no sweeteners, and it tastes great. It actually tastes like cake. We've the right products. We have the 7.2 greens. As I said, I've actually given some green drinks to some of my friends, and the first time they tasted them was normally the last, because most green drinks that are on the market today do taste unbelievably bad. But the 7.2 greens have been designed in such a way that they actually taste great. And we also have capsules for anyone who is not interested in drinking the green drinks. But, you know, to be honest with you, most kids actually drink them. They're that good, and you can actually eat them straight out of the tub. You get your daily dose of veggies in a single delicious tasting greens. It gently detoxifies the body, and there's 20 different organic ingredients to alkalize and energize. Alkaline booster, if you remember what I was talking about earlier, which is the salts. You get all of your salts at night time before you go to bed, which basically electrifies you. When you wake up in the morning, you'll have more energy than you've ever had in your life. You'll also get the best night's sleep than you have ever had. But what's great about the alkaline booster is they're calling in the US the Hall Pass. I don't know what the equivalent here is in Europe, but if, for example, you go out and have a steak, you pop 2 of these pills in your straight into your mouth afterwards, what you'll find is that if you test your pH after taking the pills, the steak or the acidic forming food that you've had during that meal does not affect your body, because the pills actually alkalize your system straight after. They reduce digestive complaints, and they help you maintain your alkalinity goals as well. This is our leading product. And as for anyone who's on this call who's suffering from pain, what this does is it actually goes directly to the source of inflammation. It's made of what's called molecular hydrogen, and we're the first company in the world to produce it. It's an all-natural product, and what it does is it gets rid of inflammation from the body. So if you think you're suffering from inflammation, if you're waking up in the morning with aches and pains, if you are thinking that maybe you have arthritis, or if you think that you're maybe suffering from a skin condition that's normally caused by excess inflammation in the body, this is something that's going to actually eradicate it from the body. It's highly alkalizing, so you know, within a matter of weeks of taking it, you'll be 100% back to your normal state of alkalinity. And it's a great way of building energy. It's also great for athletes who have lactic acid buildup, because it actually eradicates lactic acid from the system, gives you more energy, and Dave could probably talk a little bit more about that as well. So our mission, we're here to lead the next major shift in the wellness industry by attracting millions of people to alkaline movement. Anyone who's on this call tonight and wants to be part of our company, you're more than welcome. Dave is, you know, always open for anyone who wants to talk to him about 7.2. We're looking for the right people that will help push the movement forward. I'm starting out in Europe. Dave is with me in the UK and Ireland. We're massive in America. We're starting to slowly trickle into Europe, but we're slowly but surely building our team over here. But anybody who's interested, just have a chat with Dave, send him an email. We have a great compensation plan. We've also got a lot of offers, such as nothing beats free. Basically, anybody who wants to get the product for free just has to get 3 people to buy the same products. And you're going to go through that in too much detail. But our Nothing Beats free, as I said, get 3 preferred customers for 1 month, and you win our free product the following month. This is more about our compensation plan. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Yes, that is a card on the bottom left. So anybody who wants to know more about the compensation plan, either have a chat with Dave or I can go through with them separately. But it's just to give you an idea of the sort of incomes that people are actually earning by recommending these products. If you want to know more, just log on to 7.2.com/formula for success, and you can get started today if you wanted to try the products, or if you wanted to maybe recommend them to some family members who are possibly suffering from long-term pain, or if you want to actually live an alkaline-based lifestyle. This is the quickest and easiest way to get started. So if you're interested, that's a website there. And thank you very much for attending the call tonight. And if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Great stuff, Andrew. So great presentation as ever. I've just been busy typing away like crazy for the last 15 minutes or so, answering questions about the products or sending out the link. So the link is there for everyone if you want to check the website for more information on the products and the company, and if you want to place any orders. So just check your chat or question box if you haven't already seen it. There are quite a lot of people interested in finding out more. So, take on board what I've said to you in the question box and go to the website, check it out. And like Andrew said, I'm always open to speaking to people more about products or the opportunity, as is Andrew. Like I said, I met Andrew 18 months ago, and I was in the middle of a journey and the whole alkaline way of life. And, Andrew introduced these products to me, and, I've been approached by products for 18 years. I've been in the fitness industry for 18 years, running gyms and personal training centers and clients all over the world, and I've always been in the market for it. So I've seen a lot of crap products, and I've tried a lot of terrible products and invested in wasted a lot of money in products that didn't live up to what they were billed as. However, these products are without doubt the best products that I've ever used in the last 18 years. And that's saying something, because again, I only try things out myself first before I ever recommend. And I've been using these now for 18 months, and it's only in the past few months I've really started recommending them to clients and family and friends and associates I have around the world. So there's a lot of people I've used these products now around the world, and what the time and what I've been saying to some people in the chat box is the way supplements should work is it's not replacement, it's just they should complement the way your lifestyle is. Andrew spoke a lot on this presentation about lifestyle. Forget your quick fix. You shouldn't be ever focused on quick fix. You should be focused on making a lifestyle change. Like in any of my coaching programs, I stress to people, look, we want fast results, but what's nearly more important is that this is a long-term result. So if I meet you in 5 years' time, you're still healthy, you're still active, you're still vibrant, you're just still having a fulfilling, fun life. And that's what you need to be trying to do. That's what the goal is all the time. So what we want to do is make proper changes. So it's very hard these days to, it's like even making a green drink. The cost of all the different ingredients and sourcing good organic, non-GMO ingredients is pretty hard and very, very expensive. And this is where like the green drink comes in. It's a very inexpensive, convenient way of getting a green drink. Just like the shake, getting a shake in. The recovery is truly amazing. I have clients from around the world who have taken the recovery product who have spent years in pain, have had terrible inflammation or recurring injuries. Within a week or two of using the recovery, they've noticed dramatic differences, and some are no longer in pain. I've used it myself for injuries that I've sustained during my triathlon training in the last 18 months or so, and it's been amazing the recovery I've had. But what's been very important for me is my recovery and training has been absolutely phenomenal. My progress using these products in combination with a good training program and also taking care of my nutrition, the progress using these versus without them has been incredible. The recovery product in particular, for anyone who's an athlete or takes training seriously, it is incredible. It's like rocket fuel. And then, as I said, for people who are suffering pain or inflammation. So you definitely need to check out these products. Would strongly recommend you add them to your nutrition plan, whether it be all of them, one of them, two of them. There's 4 or 5 main products. I personally use all of them because for me, the more I can get of such good nutrition, and this again is organic, it's vegan, it's non-GMO, non-soy, like it's amazing ingredients in these products. I want the more of these in my system, the better, because it makes me healthier, it makes me more vibrant, it makes me recover better from training, and that's what really matters. And just to sum up again, a bit of what Andrew was saying, the key thing again is that you focus on lifestyle. We're all about lifestyle. Like Andrew dedicates his life fully to this, just as I do, in that we want people to make changes. And we can see even in his 4 steps, certain months is about nutrition, but then you also tie in things like stress relief and your exercise. It's a whole package. Changing your life, and regaining control of your body, mind and health. It's not just about nutrition or just about exercise. It's a combination of everything. Even like what Andrew said, from being more alkaline and using the right foods, right supplements, he sleeps better. This is what's important. You need to combine everything, your mindset, exercise, nutrition, sleep. It's what our whole Formula for Success brand is all about. I work with people to regain control of their body, mind and health, so that then will be a catalyst for success in all areas of your life. So, I just want to thank Andrew for an amazing presentation. As always, he gives great information, great take-home messages, and the 4 steps were brilliant. So Andrew, just thank you for that, because it was, a great presentation throughout.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. I just wanted to apologise. Actually, I've actually been in the reason why I was out of breath on that presentation. I cycled literally from the gym just before this presentation, and I cycled to it. And when I got to the gym, I did an extremely tough workout. But it's on top of that, it's snowing outside. So if I sounded at all out of breath during that presentation, I have a reason, and it's a good reason. But
it's a good reason.
I can guarantee you, I would not have been able to do any of that. Like cycling to the gym and back and forth at my age is something that I would never have thought of doing 3-5 years ago. My energy levels are absolutely through the roof. I mean, it's 10 o'clock, it's 11 o'clock at night. I know I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I'm going to have enough energy to last me for the day all the way right through to the evening. I also know I'm going to sleep. Products are phenomenal. The most important thing is that we're making it very, very easy for anyone to become alkaline. But it's always a pleasure, Dave, and you're one of the few people that I'm very fortunate to have in my life. You are the sort of person that, completely changes an individual's state. Every time I speak to you, you basically change my state. If I'm down, I know I'll just give you a call, because you're one of these great people that are extremely motivating, and anybody who's out there and doesn't know Dave, I highly recommend you get on one of his calls or give him a call just to uplift your day, because he's a great motivator, a great speaker, and a great friend, and I appreciate the opportunity again, Dave.
Thanks so much for the kind words, Andrew, and the feelings are mutual, because as I said at the very start, you never know who's going to come into your life, and it was actually on Facebook, I think, we connected, and we've become very good friends now, and we work together, on 7.2 and spreading the whole alkaline, lifestyle, and we're both very passionate about it. So we've like that kind of work relationship. We also have a very good personal relationship, and we've become very good friends, and I'm very grateful for that friendship as well. I'm very grateful that our paths crossed, and for everyone listening, just take notice of what's happening in your life, and take notice of when fate actually does hit, because there's reasons why everything happens, whether it's good or bad, or certain people come into your life. There's reasons for everything. So start living a very present life. That's what's really key. Be very present. Live in the present. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing going on at the time, deal with it, accept it, and move on from it, and make the best of everything. Remember, we're all on a journey here, and the journey is quite short, so you want to make the most of it. And that's why I drill into everyone, regain control of your body, mind, and health, because again, it's a catalyst for success in every single area of your life. If you want success, if you want happiness, if you want fulfillment, if you want to be able to have fun and freedom, you need to regain control of your body, mind, and health. So take care of your nutrition, get on the proper alkaline lifestyle nutrition plan, get these 7.2 products, start exercising, start learning how to control your stress, start sleeping better, and as always, focus on creating a good positive mindset.